This is an 8 puzzle, and it's been becoming more and more popular in video games, appearing in games like Labyrinthine, FOREWARNED, and the recently released Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit game, and I've seen a lot of people struggle with them, so I decided to make a basic guide on how to solve them. This online 8 puzzle has numbers to denote their solved position, but it's solved in the exact same way as an 8 puzzle that uses a picture. The first step is to solve a corner. It can be any corner, but for this tutorial we're going to start with the top left corner. So I'll move the corner into its solved position, just like this. So now that we've solved a corner, you might think that the next thing we do is solve an edge to it like this, but that won't work because then it's actually impossible to put the other corner in. So what you have to do is pair up a corner and edge piece in the correct order, and then insert that pair at the same time. The first step to do this is to get one of the pieces you want to solve into one of the 2 slots of the row that you want to solve, but make sure it's in the slot that doesn't make that piece solved. So the corner being here is bad because it's already solved and we don't want that yet. So we're going to move it to the other space here where it isn't solved. The next step is finding the other piece you want to solve into the top row. In this case it's the top edge, and putting it underneath the piece that you set up in the first step, which in this case is the top right corner. And there, these pieces are now paired up and they can be inserted like this. Sometimes you might get this case where both pieces are already paired up, but they're reversed, they're in the wrong order. When this happens, you need to take one of those pieces out and pair them up again so that they're in the correct order. In this case, the piece you want to take out needs to be outside of this group of 4 spaces, so it needs to be in either these 2 slots or these 2 slots, so that you can move the pieces you want to pair up one at a time without affecting the other piece. Once you've taken a piece out, you can pair these pieces back up and solve them normally, which you should already know from the previous step, so I'm just going to pair them like this, and then insert them. After you've solved the top row, the next step is to do the exact same thing to solve one of the columns. And if you're having trouble with this, just try to imagine that the puzzle is rotated 90 degrees and the column you're trying to solve is actually the top row and it's solved in the exact same way. So here we're going to solve the left column, and this corner is already solved because we solved it earlier, so we just need to make a pair for these 2 slots and insert them like this. If you get a flipped corner and edge pair, you should already know what to do when I talked about reverse pieces before. The only difference is that because you've solved the top row and the bottom left 4 slots are the working area, you will need to put the piece that you want to remove into one of the unsolved slots on the right. Once you've solved a row and a column, the last 3 pieces can just be rotated around until they're solved. But if you're playing with a physical puzzle and find that there are pieces that are reversed at this stage, that means you've put them in incorrectly when you've scrambled it and created an unsolvable state. One more thing is that if you want to solve a column that would contain the empty space when the whole puzzle is solved, so there's no corner piece, just pretend that the bottom edge is that corner piece, and then at the end you'll just have to move the bottom row back to the correct position to solve the whole thing. And that's it, you've solved the 8 puzzle. One last thing is that the thing about these puzzles is that bigger versions aren't actually any harder than the 3x3 version. They might take more time to solve, but aren't really harder to solve. It involves just lining up tiles intuitively until you get to the last 2 slots in a row or column, in which case you just do what you learned here to pair up and insert the final 2 tiles in each row and column.